Why the most dangerous people on earth are often the most divine. There's a secret the world rarely speaks of, but you feel it, don't you? Deep inside, you know you were never here to be purely good or purely bad. You were not made for shallow morality or surface-level spirituality. You were made for wholeness. And wholeness includes the dark. It includes the light. It includes rage and mercy, shadow and radiance, destruction and healing. The greatest chosen ones, those who walk with true power, are not those who reject the darkness. They are the ones who have befriended it without being consumed by it. If you are watching this, you are likely one of them. One of the 7 types of chosen ones who were not put on earth to be perfect, but to be whole. This isn't about light versus dark. It's about integration. Because only integrated beings can hold real power without abusing it. And maybe it's time you stopped hiding the parts of yourself that feel too raw, too intense. Maybe those parts are not your weakness, they're your weapon. The first type of chosen one who carries both dark and light power is the spiritual warrior. This is the one who smiles like a monk but fights like a storm. They are peaceful until provoked, still until summoned. They've walked through psychic war zones, spiritual attacks, family curses, and survived. They don't just meditate, they battle in silence. Their energy is a shield and a sword. And here's the paradox: they don't want war. But if war comes to their door, they will end it in seconds. Their light is discipline. Their darkness is protection. They are the ones who defend the innocent with invisible blades. If you resonate with this, you've likely been misunderstood. People fear you because they can't control you. But that's not your burden, it's your badge. You were never meant to be tamed. You were meant to be trusted. The second type is the shadow alchemist. This chosen one doesn't just sit in light. They dive into the filth of the human psyche and transform it. They are the ones who've been through addiction, mental collapse, suicidal depths, and came back with sacred knowledge. They don't hide their scars, they teach from them. The light they carry isn't naive. It's earned, it's gritty, it's real. They can sit with demons and not flinch. They walk into rooms heavy with pain and purge them with presence. Their darkness is their medicine. They are the ones who turn trauma into transformation. If this is you, you've probably felt like you're carrying too much. Like your life has been one long exorcism. But what if that wasn't a punishment? What if you are the one who was assigned to master pain so no one else has to suffer alone again? The third type is the divine rebel. This chosen one doesn't fit in temples or churches. They challenge dogma, break toxic systems, and dismantle false authorities. They've been exiled by spiritual communities, misjudged, misunderstood, but they are here to renovate spiritual evolution. Their light is truth. Their darkness is defiance. They don't obey. They obey their soul. And that frightens the system. They are here to expose hypocrisy and burn down illusions. If you are one of them, you've probably been punished for telling the truth too early. But your timing wasn't wrong. Their readiness was late. You were not made to be silent. You were made to shake foundations. So I ask you, what truth are you still afraid to speak out loud? The fourth type is the empathic shadow walker. This chosen one feels everything: joy, sorrow, rage, grief. But unlike ordinary empaths, they don't just feel, they absorb and transmute. They walk into a room and take on the collective pain like a spiritual sponge. And it almost kills them until they learn to channel it. Their light is sensitivity. Their darkness is possession. Because they've been possessed by other people's energies, emotions, and even spirits. But they don't run from it. They learn to command it. They become living altars. If this is you, you've probably been overwhelmed your whole life. You've cried for no reason, ached for people you've never met. But what if your sadness wasn't yours? What if you were cleansing the world through your vessel? The fifth type is the sacred destroyer. This chosen one doesn't just build, they dismantle. They are here to end bloodlines of abuse, break ancestral chains, terminate karmic loops. Their life feels like a demolition site because they are the ones who incarnate to say it ends with me. Their light is liberation. Their darkness is destruction. They tear down everything that is false. And sometimes people hate them for it until they realize the freedom that came after the fire. If this is you, your life has probably been chaotic. People have called you unstable, dramatic, intense. But what if you weren't unstable? What if you were unstoppable? What if your soul signed up to be the one who burns down the old world to birth a new one? The sixth type is the dual gatekeeper. This chosen one stands at the threshold between dimensions, between life and death, spirit and matter, light and shadow. They've had near-death experiences. They've seen visions. They've touched the void and came back with wisdom. Their light is vision. Their darkness is void consciousness. They are the bridge between realms. They channel not just angels, but also ancestral grief, future timelines, and ancient codes. They're often loners, misunderstood, speaking in metaphors others can't decode. If this is you, you probably feel old, eternal, on diet strangely allié. But what if you're not lost? What if you're just remembering faster than the rest of the world can catch up? The seventh type is the lover of the void. This chosen one is driven by pure devotion. They don't just love people, they love consciousness itself. They've fallen in love with the dark night of the soul, with silence, with nothingness. Their light is surrender. Their darkness is ecstasy and emptiness. They can find beauty in the most painful moments. They are mystics, poets, medmen, saints. They don't preach, they embody. They don't run from grief, they marry it. If this is you, you've probably felt insane before. Like your love for truth, for pain, for God was too much. But what if you weren't crazy? What if you were the only sane one in a world addicted to avoidance? So here's the truth. These 7 chosen ones don't just hold power. They are power, not because they rejected the dark, but because they redeemed it. They didn't run from their shadow, they sat with it, danced with it, learned from it. And now they carry a frequency that is unshakable. Because when you hold both the sword and the rose, you are no longer just a seeker. You are a force. How to awaken the shadow powers without losing the light? If you are still here, then you already know. The path of the chosen one is not about choosing sides. It's about becoming the bridge between spirit and shadow, between love and wrath, between the sacred and the profane. But here's what most spiritual teachings never tell you. If you awaken your light without grounding your shadow, you become fragile. But if you awaken your shadow without anchoring in light, you become dangerous. The true chosen ones hold both, not by accident, but by initiation. And the most powerful among us are not those who suppress their darkness, but those who go into it willingly, extract the codes, and return to the world with wisdom in one hand and fire in the other. But here's the warning. You cannot play with shadow power unless you are deeply rooted in your soul. Because shadow energy amplifies everything, your pain, your ego, your unresolved wounds. And if you're not grounded, it will seduce you. It will feed you illusions of control and superiority. So the first law of shadow-light integration is this: never enter the underworld unless you know who you are first. To awaken your dark power without losing your light, you must understand the difference between reaction and response. Reaction is when your shadow uses you. Response is when you use your shadow. Most people don't realize that anger, grief, lust, jealousy, these are not bad emotions. They are raw power sources. But if you're reactive, those forces will erupt and destroy. If you're receptive, they will serve and inform. So spiritual maturity is not about avoiding the dark. It's about developing the discipline to sit with it until it softens into wisdom. The chosen ones who master this know how to channel anger into boundaries, grief into compassion, desire into creation, and fear into prophecy. So let me ask you, what emotion have you been avoiding that might actually be the key to your power? One of the forbidden codes of shadow light mastery is the art of energetic containment. This is deeper than controlling your emotions. It's about learning how to hold immense intensity, pain, pleasure, rage, power, without projecting it outward or collapsing inward. Have you ever met someone who walks into a room silently and the entire atmosphere shifts? That's energetic containment. They're not leaking, they're not forcing, they are holding. And that's what makes them magnetic. Most people leak their energy through gossip, emotional dumping, or spiritual performance. But chosen ones who hold both dark and light power know how to keep their energy sacred. They don't speak unless it's true. They don't act unless it's aligned. They don't reveal unless it's time. This level of self-mastery doesn't come from books. It comes from sacred silence, spiritual fire, and ruthless self-honesty. Another forbidden code is shadow communion. This means creating a conscious relationship with the parts of you that you've exiled, your inner villain, your manipulator, your destroyer, your addict, your seducer. Not to act them out, but to understand their function. Every shadow part has a sacred reason for existing. Your manipulator may have learned to survive in chaos. Your inner villain may have been protecting a wounded child. Your destroyer may have been trying to end something that was killing your soul. When you stop shaming these parts, they stop controlling you. They become allies. You begin to command them, not from ego, but from soul. You no longer fear your darkness. You assign it. You say, you are no longer running the show, but I will use you when the mission calls for it. So, what shadow part in you is asking not to be healed, but to be heard? Another forbidden code is shadow communion. This means creating a conscious relationship with the parts of you that you've exiled, your inner villain, your manipulator, your destroyer, your addict, your seducer. Not to act them out, but to understand their function. Every shadow part has a sacred reason for existing. Your manipulator may have learned to survive in chaos. Your inner villain may have been protecting a wounded child. Your destroyer may have been trying to end something that was killing your soul. When you stop shaming these parts, they stop controlling you. They become allies. You begin to command them not from ego, but from soul. You no longer fear your darkness, you assign it. You say, you are no longer running the show, but I will use you when the mission calls for it. So, what shadow part in you is asking not to be healed? The deepest code of all is identity dissolution. This is terrifying, because everything in the ego wants to be someone. Someone good, someone gifted, someone enlightened. But chosen ones aren't here to be someone. We're here to become no one so we can become everything. When you dissolve the false self, You realize your light is not yours. It's the divine moving through you. Your darkness is not yours. It's a collective force asking to be purified. You are not your trauma. You are not your talent. You are the space that holds them both. And from that space you can create anything. The ego says, I am powerful. The soul says, I am power itself. So I ask you, what identity are you still clinging to that is limiting the fullness of your becoming? To be heard. Let's talk about temptation. Because when you start accessing real spiritual power, visions, influence, energy manipulation, healing gifts, the ego will whisper you are above others. This is where many fall. They start using light to build a pedestal and using shadow to manipulate. The chosen ones who survive this test are the ones who remember, power is not for elevation, it's for liberation. You don't use your gifts to dominate. You use them to awaken others to their own. You don't use your voice to be heard. You use it to summon the buried voices of the tribe. This is the difference between a sorcerer and a servant. One wants to control. The other wants to consecrate. And if you are truly a chosen one, you will be tested. Not just by others, but by your own ability to handle worship without ego, rejection without bitterness, and power without corruption. Finally, there's the code of cosmic neutrality. This is the most advanced stage. It's when you stop labeling things as good or bad and start asking, what is this teaching me? You start to see pain as initiation, hatred as projection, attack as unconsciousness. You don't bypass it, you see through it. You don't take things personally because you realize nothing is personal. Everything is pattern. Everything is energy. Everything is karmic recycling. And in that realization, you become free. Not emotionally numb, but spiritually precise. You can hold the suffering of the world without drowning in it. You can walk through betrayal and still keep your heart open. You can see the illusion and still love the illusionist. Because now you are operating from the throne of the soul, not the wounds of the persona. This is the final stage of shadow light mastery, not becoming divine, but remembering you always were. How to walk as a living bridge between shadow and light. Now that you've seen the paradox, felt the fire, and remembered the codes, the final frontier is not knowledge, it's embodiment. Because wisdom that stays in the mind becomes philosophy, but wisdom that moves through the body becomes frequency. The world doesn't need more enlightened thinkers. It needs embodied transmitters. People who carry both the dark and the light in their nervous system, not just their language. People who don't just talk about healing, but radiate nervous system safety. People who don't just theorize about shadow work, but hold their own darkness with such grace that others feel safe to meet theirs. Embodiment means you don't have to prove who you are. You walk into the room, and people feel it. You don't have to defend your light or hide your dark. You become the bridge, and your presence becomes the permission for others to do the same. So I ask you, are you still seeking to convince the world of your power, or are you ready to become it in silence? To embody your duality, you must begin with your body. Sounds obvious, but most chosen ones live in the upper chakras. We escape into visions, downloads, astral realms. But the body is where shadow lives. The hips store trauma. The spine holds ancestral memories. The hands carry both creative and destructive energy. And so, embodiment begins with reclaiming your physicality as sacred. You start to move like a priest, breathe like a dragon, walk like the earth is your altar. You eat with presence. You stretch with devotion. You wake up and your first words are not "What do I have to do today?" but "Who am I becoming today?" You don't rush. You root. You don't grind. You glide, because the body of a chosen one is a temple of transmutation. And until you live in it fully, your light will remain limited and your shadow will remain ungrounded. Next, embodiment means bringing dual power into your relationships. This is one of the most advanced places to practice, because it's easy to be balanced in solitude. But in relationship, with lovers, friends, clients, family, that's where your unresolved patterns will scream to be seen. Embodying both dark and light means you no longer perform purity to avoid abandonment. You can express anger without losing love. You can hold someone in their pain without rescuing them. You can say no without guilt. You can see someone's shadow and not flinch. You become the space where other people's truth is safe, even if it's messy. And you don't shrink yourself to be accepted because you've already accepted all of yourself. You don't need others to be regulated for you to stay stable. You carry peace and power inside, and that's what makes you irresistible and unshakable. Then comes the practice of energetic broadcasting. This is where your dual power begins to influence the field around you. You don't have to say a word, just your presence shifts timelines. People start to cry in your presence, confess, awaken, or even resist you, not because of what you said, but because of what you carry. This happens only when your inner ecosystem is coherent. You've integrated your shadow, owned your story, and purified your frequency. Your light doesn't blind, it recalibrates. Your dark doesn't destroy, it disarms. You become a tuning fork for alignment. But beware, broadcasting doesn't mean controlling. You must release the need to change anyone. True influence happens when you become so aligned with yourself that others remember who they are simply by being near you. So ask yourself, what frequency do you leave behind when you exit a room? To maintain this level of embodiment, you must also become a guardian of your field. This is not about fear, this is about reverence. You wouldn't let someone trash your home. So why would you let someone dump chaos into your nervous system? You get to choose what energy you allow in. You get to protect your rituals, your rest, your sacred space. Embodiment means you don't apologize for your boundaries. You don't over-explain your no. You don't negotiate your intuition. If someone can't meet you in your clarity, that's not rejection, it's refinement. You are not cold for protecting your peace. You are not selfish for prioritizing your alignment. This is how chosen ones stay radiant without burning out. You become selective, not guarded, open but not porous, loving but not leaking. Now, embodiment must ripple into your mission. You didn't come here to carry this dual power and then do nothing with it. You came to transmit, to activate, to create impact from your essence. This doesn't have to mean becoming a spiritual teacher. You could be a parent, an artist, a coder, a CEO, a healer, a builder. What matters is that your mission flows from your wholeness, not your wounds. You don't create to prove you're worthy. You create because your aliveness is overflowing. You don't perform to be seen. You serve because your soul is fulfilled. Your mission becomes a mirror for others to meet their potential. You don't chase influence. You embody resonance. And the world comes to drink from your well of integration. So ask yourself, is your mission still trying to rescue you, or is it now ready to ripple outward from the overflow of your being? Finally, embodiment means living as the paradox. You are the healer and the destroyer, the mystic and the warrior, the silence and the storm. You are not here to be one thing. You are here to be the whole thing. and choose what to express in each sacred moment. You can sit with angels in the morning and speak to the dead by night. You can fall apart and still be the most powerful one in the room. You can feel everything and still be the eye of the hurricane. This is the highest form of spiritual embodiment, being able to hold both the unbearable and the unspeakable, and still choose love. Not fluffy love, but ferocious love. The kind that stares into the void and says, "You will not have me." The kind that holds a trembling body and says, "You are safe now." The kind that walks through fire and still leaves flowers in its footsteps. That is who you are. That is what you came to be. A living paradox. A sacred contradiction. A chosen one who will not bow to fear, because you have already befriended it. So now, the question is not, when will I awaken? You already have. The question is, will I now embody what I know and become the living transmission of everything I once prayed for? Because you, chosen one, are not just here to balance light and dark. You are here to be the bridge that births a new world from both.